What's up, everybody? If you are here looking for a creature combo deck in Commander, you've come to the right place. Let's go. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and here we do all things Magic the Gathering. Today we are doing another Commander deck where I take a look at a deck list submission, talk about the Commander, the individual card choices, as well as the kind of strategy overall, and at the end I'll give it a rating out of 10. Today's submission comes from Prof Amateur, friend of the channel, doing a lot of cool lists, and has another one for us today. Speaking of submissions, if you have a Commander deck that you want to be reviewed, you can do so either in the comments below, or we have a dedicated channel in my Discord just for this video series. Anything as long as it is a link to a deck list, whether it's Tapped Out, Scryfall, Moxfield, any of them is totally fine. Yeah, and always taking submissions, so feel free to leave those. And while you're at it, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me out. All right, let's get into the deck list and let's look at the generals for this Commander deck. That's right, you heard me correctly. I said generals. We have two commanders here because our commanders have partner, which is a mechanic that released a while back, and basically means that you can have two commanders as long as they both have partner. So we have the first one here, Tymna the Weaver, 1 white black for a 2/2 legendary creature, human cleric. It's got lifelink, and at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you can pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn, and if you do, you draw that many cards. If you know anything about, competitive Commander, or even like relatively powerful Commander, you'll probably know this card. Very, very powerful. Pretty much any deck that is running a lot of creatures. The lifelink on this card is really, really relevant. You attack with it, you gain some life, and it kind of, stems or kind of lessens that kind of cost of paying that much life, and allows you to just draw so many cards and kind of keep the cards flowing. So yeah, I'm sure whatever it is, this is going to be a really nice general for the deck. Our other commander here is a slightly newer one from Commander Legends, Kodama of the East Tree, which is 4 green for 6/6 legendary creature spirit. Has reach, and it has the ability, whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. So can't go infinite by itself, right? It's not just going to spew your hand out or whatever, but if you play something, it allows you to play another thing from your hand, and can kind of just be a really, really powerful mana play, right? So you play this, hopefully it survives, and then you play 4 costs and you get another 4 cost or less. So that would be like 8 mana or less worth of plays just for 4 mana. So you can easily see how this card can be really, really powerful. It is expensive, but I've taken a look at the deck, and the deck is making some considerations for this card. All right, so those are the commanders. So we're playing opt-on colors. Let's take a look at the deck list. All right, so here's the deck list. I do just want to preface this with a couple of things. First of all, again, this is a fairly competitive or cEDH list. I don't know if Professor Amateur was really trying to make a hardcore cEDH list, but it is definitely a very try-hardy, as some might say, deck list where you're trying to win as fast as possible and not really making any other kind of pleasantries about it. The other thing kind of with that is that the deck is fairly expensive. It's about $3,500. So again, nothing to scoff at, but I will note that there also are some kind of alternate editions or omissions, for budget considerations. So I know I talked about him with Growing Rights of Itlamog, and the flip side is a budget for Gaia's Cradle. So this deck is about $700 cheaper than it would normally be. But let's take a look at the actual deck list here. We went over the commanders, and essentially what we have here is a Abzan creature combo deck. There is a couple of combos here The main one with the Kodama here, the kind of reason why we're running Kodama, is because Kodama can be used in combination with cEDH, Restoration Angel, Karmic Guide, Felidar Guardian, to kind of create this kind of interesting kind of loop. So if you place you have Kodama out, you place DC, and you order the trigger such that you search the card first, and then you get excuse me, and then you get to put something into play. So you sack cEDH, you put into play Karmic Guide, Karmic Guide gets back cEDH, and then cEDH will coming back into play will trigger another Kodama, and will also trigger cEDH's exploit again. You do the same thing, you sack I think it doesn't matter what you sack. I don't think it matters if you sack Karmic Guide or cEDH, but then you get a Restoration Angel, you do the same thing, and you or I guess it does matter, you get Felidar Guardian, and you flicker either of these, get back cEDH, trigger sack the Karmic Guide again, and get yourself or sack cEDH your Karmic Guide again, or whatever, or trigger Karmic Guide, grab the Restoration Angel, and then once you put that into play, again with the Kodama trigger, you can infinitely flicker Felidar Guardian and Karmic Guide, or sorry, not Karmic Guide, and Restoration Angel. And so that will allow you to kind of create infinite enter the battlefield triggers, which will put all of these triggers onto the stack, again, because this only checks if it's putting in play with the ability. So the flicker effects put these triggers onto the stack. And then what you can do with that is a couple of things. Number one is the easiest way is with Ace Rack. Put it into play, bounce it, and then choose the dungeon that deals damage or whatever it is, and that will do the job, right? What was I going to say? Right, so then there's that, and then the other way that you can do it is with Corpse Knight, which does the same thing, just a little less interestingly. I don't know. Yeah, so that's kind of it's kind of a little bit convoluted, but that's essentially how it works. Pretty much all you have to have is cEDH plus either Corpse Knight or Ace Rack, right? And then once you have those plus Kodama out, you can do your thing. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty easy to get, and again, the real reason why this is so effective is because you essentially have one of your combo pieces to start in Kodama, just right out of the command zone. The other combo that's not as I'd say crucial or quintessential to the deck is the Learn combo. So this makes it so that you can play 3 CMC or lower creatures without paying their mana cost and at instant speed, and that essentially just allows you to do the exact same thing with Ace Rack, just not as interestingly, I guess, right? You just put it into play and cast it over and over, but it's still a really relevant combo. And I'll mention that there are some ways to get a Learn out from your deck really effectively. Right, so those are the combos, or that is the combo. Let's kind of go over kind of the rest of the deck here. So we've got a couple of ramp dorks here. We've got Avacyn's Pilgrim Birds, Deathheart Shaman, which has a lot of utility, Elves Deep Shadow, Elvish Mystic, and then I should also mention Lenore Elves. And then we've got some really good one-drops here as well. We kind of have this one-drop package with Ranger of Eos, which I'll go over in a moment. I've got Esper Sentinel, we all know it. Hope of Girapur is really good at stopping your opponent's counter spells or removal spells during your turn. So if you're trying to combo, you attack with this, sack it, and then you kind of silence them. Sarah's Ascendant is just good here. It's a nice one drop. It gives you a lot of life early. Sylvan Safekeeper protects your creatures, which is nice. And then we've got some good 2-drops here with Archivist, a new card from Commander Legends of Baldur's Gate, Commander Legends, Baldur's Gate, Battle, whatever it's called. You know what I mean. Punishing people for searching, Bloom Tender for more ramp, Dauthi Voidwalker here, kind of shutting off graveyard stuff, as well as providing some value. Drannith Magistrate to shut down your opponent's commanders or any kind of other shenanigans. We've got Fauna Shaman and Fiend Artisan, which are good kind of tutors. Fiend Artisan, you have to sack some stuff, but that's fine. Fauna Shaman, you have to discard it, which is a little easier. Grand Abolisher shuts down your opponent's interaction, which is really good. Priest of Titania is a ton of ramp. We've got Elvish Spirit Guide for some fast mana here, right? Again, we want to be casting our stuff as fast as possible, like Kodama. Endurance here is a good tutor target, as well as just a good way to interact with your opponent's graveyard if they're doing something crazy. Again, you can play this for no mana sometimes with the evoke, so that's nice. We got Moonblessed Cleric here to put an enchantment on top of our deck. Not the best effect by itself, but the fact that it is a 3-drop creature can do a lot. And we'll kind of go over that with the rest of our spells here. Obelisk is an agent we know. And then I really like Ranger Captain de Vios here. It does a lot for this deck, actually. Helps you find any of your 1-drops here. And then also is another silence effect. You stop your opponents, all of your opponents, from being able to cast non-creature spells this turn. So you can play it, search for whatever you need from your 1-drops, and then, shut off your opponent's interaction for a turn. So on your combo turn, this could be really, really crucial. Academy Rector is the way that we can get a lure onto the battlefield really early. Otherwise, it's kind of not as powerful. Again, that's kind of why it's here. You play it, you can sacrifice it to something like the Fiend Artisan, and that could be nice. But yeah, this isn't like the best Academy Rector deck, but it is a notable inclusion. We already talked about some of the cards down here in the combo. We got Okium Adversary here, just a great card overall. Death Toucher, and then draws cards. So people don't want to block it. Yep. That card's really, really good. Really, really self-explanatory. If you are playing a green deck, you should probably have this card in your deck. Then we got Solitude here, another good End to the Battlefield card, kind of good with some flickers and also just good for interaction. We got Wandering Archaic, mostly I think using it for the Wonder side. Is it each player? Oh no, that's each player. I don't really know why this card is here. I guess you steal some of their stuff if you cast the 5-drop side. I don't know. I'm kind of confused by this card. Like it's nice, it's versatile. Like both sides are kind of interesting. Where this lets each player do it, but like theoretically you're grabbing a land plus one of your important spells here. But I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see an explanation for that card. Let's see. All right, and now on to our instants and sorceries here. We've got a bunch of tutor effects: Imperial Seer, Demonic Tutor, Diabolic Intent, Finale, and then Eldritch Evolution is really good. So again, we have we can play a 1-drop on turn 1. We can play like Absence Pilgrim, and then on turn 2 we can Eldritch Evolution for our Ranger or something like that, or even our Moonblessed Cleric, as I talked about, and get a Learn into on top of our deck. So like Eldritch Evolution or Finale can both do a lot of really good things here. Calling Ritual is just a good card. It's kind of a mini board wipe. It only destroys small stuff, but then it adds mana back so you can make more plays. We've got some instants here, just a lot of interaction. Autumn's Veil for some disruption, for like counter spells, removal spells, crop rotation to find our important lands. Call the Weak and Dark Ritual for fast mana. We've got Enlightened Tutor for Lurin. And then we've got this Orange Chant, which is or Rims Chant, excuse me, which is a really interesting card. It can be a silence, but it can also kind of keep you alive if somebody has a big board. So I really, really like this card. I think it's kind of just a better silence. Oh, I guess this is opponents. So this is only targets one opponent. As opposed to silence, which stops all your opponents from casting spells. But paying 2 mana and stopping someone who like casts a big hasty board or whatever is nothing to scoff at either. So I like the inclusion of both Orm's Chant and silence. So we got Source of Plowshare here as well. More tutoring with Vamp Tutor. Veil of Summer is a better Autumn's Veil. So of course, if Autumn's Veil is here, so should Veil of Summer. Worldly Tutor, obvious inclusion. And then we've got some removal here with Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, and Deadly Rollick. And then we've got a bunch of fast mana. Chromox, Jeweled Lotus is an obvious inclusion. Jeweled Lotus is a really big one. for casting Kodama early, right? So this can cast either of your commanders, right? Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, these are all fairly obvious. And then you got Wishclaw Talisman for another tutor effect, and of course, Birthing Pod. This is like a perfect Birthing Pod deck. We've got a bunch of 1s, a bunch of 2s, a bunch of 3s, and a couple of 4s and 5s. So, of course, this is a fine Birthing Pod deck. All right. And then for the enchantments here, we got Carpet of Flowers for Hate Against Blue. Deafening Silence is really good because, again, we're not casting that many non-creature spells. We're casting a lot of creature spells. We've got 33 creatures here. Sylvan Library, Card Advantage, Growing Roots of Itlamog is a good way to find some of your creatures, but also be a Gaia's Cradle. We talked about Allurin, and then we've got this Pattern of Rebirth, which enchants a creature, and then when it dies, you may search the library for a creature and put it right onto the battlefield. So this can sometimes be a cheaper version of like Eldritch Evolution or Finale of Devastation. If you put it on, say, like a Hope of Europer, attack with it and then sack it, then Pattern of Rebirth triggers. You can put it on, something and then sack it to Fiend Artisan. There's also not Sylvan Safekeeper. You can put it on Ranger Captain of Eos, and you can kind of see how this card can do a lot. I think this is like a kind of a almost like a hidden gem, right? It's like a secretly really good card in this deck, even though it looks kind of weird. And then we got 29 lands here. I really like the land count here with the artifacts here. It's a fairly low to the ground deck. So I like the 29 land count plus all of the fast mana here. Again, remember also that like we have an Elvish Spirit Guide in here and all of that stuff. So yeah. So let's see. We got Ancient Tomb, Bayou, Seiju. Seiju's really good. Aganjo. So like we just have the cycling lands, a bunch of fetch lands. You got Forbidden Orchard. Homeward Path, as we've talked about, really good against Gilded Drake and all these things. People have mentioned, the power level of this card to me. Holy moly, it's $20. I'm sorry. Yeah, pretty much nothing. Takanuma is nice to rebuy some creatures. Yavimaya turns everything into forest. I guess we don't need Yawgmoths because we don't run that much black. It looks like we're mostly green white. We have cities. Shouldn't there be? I'm maybe not. I'm sure that Professor Amateur planned out the mana base here and determined that green was way more important. Definitely seems like it is with like all of the green spells here, all the green 1-drops here. So yeah, I'm sure that they would rather have green than black, but you are trying to cast, or I guess somehow put CDC into play, and you also have a lot of your demonic tutors, but I think probably doesn't need it then if Professor Amateur omitted it. All right. So yeah, those are the lands. And again, there's enough mana sources here again with, Chromox, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, all these things, that you should be able to cast Kodama as early, as you can, hopefully, because that's the goal. That's essentially it. Yeah, we essentially just have get Kodama out, and cast creatures and do things. So like, that's the other thing is like with Kodama, even if it's not being a combo piece, it can put some good stuff into play. You put a ranger into play. Heck, you could with the ranger, actually that's why it's even better, I'm realizing, is that you can play it, stack the trigger so that you search the card first and then just immediately put it into play with Kodama. So I really like that. There's a lot of cards here like that work really well. Yeah. So that's kind of the deck. Again, we're just trying to, play good cards, get our combo pieces, and we have a ton of ways to find them. Ton of tutors, tons of, these Fauna Shaman, Feed Artisan type effects. And of course, don't forget Birthing Pod. I feel like I'm not talking about Birthing Pod enough, but like I don't want to focus on it just because like it's Birthing Pod. We all know it. But yeah, let's give it a rating. What do we think? Yeah, I think so I'm not gonna give it a 10 just because again, I have to figure out how I'm rating this, because am I giving it a 10 out of 10 because Growing Rights is a good way of playing Cradle without playing Cradle, or am I like 9 out of 10 because you don't have Cradle? I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, not because of that, just because I don't want to say it's a little too try hardy, but one of the things that I would really like out of this deck is some kind of recursion. I feel like you're the way this deck is right now is it's going for the combo, and if you don't get it, like let's say they sack, they kill your Karmic Guide, or they kill your cEDH or whatever, and you or your Kodama in response or something like that, you don't really have a good way of recurring the creatures if you don't do the combo, right? There's no like regrowth, which I don't regrowth is not that good, but you know what I mean. I'm looking for something like that, that can kind of rebuy your combo. But other than that, the combo is really powerful and is very cool. Again, I like seeing how Kodama interacts with cEDH. cEDH typically not a card, not a card that's not good, but not seeing a ton of play, given the prevalence of this card called Demonic Tutor. But here it's almost kind of a better version, since it is both a 5-drop and a tutor. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 here. Again, I think adding something like that to the deck would be what I would make it, I guess, pushed over the top to 10. But I know that like that's not exactly the easiest thing to do here. I guess like Finale is a little bit of recursion, has a little bit, but again, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. And that is also kind of, by the way, how combo decks tend to work is, you kind of are going for the combo, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you kind of aren't doing your thing. That happens a lot with me, with my, Lush deck, or with my my other decks that are kind of combo decks, where, if I have the combo, I'm going for it, and if I lose, I lose. So that is just kind of the reality of Commander. All right, so that's my verdict, 9 out of 10, but definitely a really cool deck. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you guys want to try out the list, I'll leave a link in the description. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, remember, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and remember, I'm always taking deck list submissions either in the comments or on my Discord, so go and submit those there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed again, and I will see you guys for the next video.